forest levels.
Well, I had to put something at number 10. And you know what? This place deserves it. Thieves' Forest from Castle Crashers was an expertly crafted forest level because of just how much was going on. This level is an epic roller coaster ride. From the beginning, you start hearing this monster, this giant beast coming after you from behind. It's scaring the animals shitless, quite literally, in fact. After making your way through the green meadow, you come across an old mill where you fight a black fuzzy mini-boss. After that, the giant beast attacks and chases you down through the mill as you ride away on a speeding deer. And after that, you fall into the river where you have to ride on sharks, fighting off a swarm of river monsters. And after that, you're met with a giant catfish boss. Get it? A catfish? In terms of sheer epicness, this level blows others out of the water. Castle Crashers may not be anything special, but it works perfectly. And sometimes you just have to admire that which works perfectly. You guys may not even remember this one. Faron Woods was an area shared between both The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess. But it's the Twilight Princess version that really got to me. I liked Faron Woods for its darkness, its eerie, foreboding atmosphere. I also liked the involvement of using a lantern to light my way. Twilight Princess was the first Zelda game in a long time to make you use a lantern, and I think it made the immersion that much stronger. It all left a pretty powerful image in my memory. The warm light flickering against the sable trees, navigating through the black, murky caves, buying lantern oil from that creepy guy in the woods, chasing those stupid monkeys all over the place. God, I hate those monkeys. Oh, and that creepy little melody is just awesome. Faron Woods felt very raw to me, very crisp and timeless, like it'd be the ideal setting for a grim fairy tale or something. All in all, it was simply enchanting. Oh, that horrible tune. I used to hate that music. Hate it. If you've played the original Pokemon Red, Green, or Blue, you'll remember Viridian Forest. It was the first dungeon you encountered in the game, and the very first place to completely set you free. You could do anything you wanted now. You could catch Pokemon, find secret items, and even challenge other trainers to battle. Most of the people here were bug catchers, and they would always pull out a bunch of stupid Caterpies or try to beat you with some useless Metapod. Come to think of it, I remember once catching a Metapod. Yeah, I had my own Metapod. One time I got in a fight with a wild Kakuna, and my Metapod was all I had left. What an epic battle that was. Metapod used Harden. Kakuna used Harden. Metapod used Harden. Kakuna used Harden again. Metapod stared at Kakuna. Kakuna stared back. Intimidation, fear, spite, Harden. You know, this place may not be very big, but I think anyone who's played Pokemon would agree that it was completely memorable. Memorable enough to be a part of my list. Let's be honest here. Even if you've never played Super Mario RPG, you've heard this music. Yeah, okay. Watch me dance to it. Forest Maze was one of the first levels in Super Mario RPG, and, well, there's not much to say about it. Honestly, I don't really like the level design that much here, because it just gets so repetitive. When I first played this game as a kid, I wanted to get the hell out of this place. I kept running in circles and getting lost, having to fight mushrooms and bees over and over again until my hammer caught fire. But now, looking back, this level is just classic. 100% classic. It seems every other Mario RPG that followed had its own take on the dizzying forest maze. Chucklehuck Woods from Superstar Saga, Forever Forest from Paper Mario, Toadwood Forest from Partners in Time. I love each and every one of those places. Just consider this a mix of all four, I guess. Such good times. If you've never played Dark Souls, you probably don't find it very impressive. Most people who haven't played Dark Souls know only one thing about it. It's hard. And while that's not the reason I like it, I'd have to agree with you. It is hard. No harder than freaking Castlevania, but still hard. It seems like it's almost impossible to play this game without dying about 10,000 times. And because of that, it makes the game pretty scary. You'll often find yourself slowly inching forward, terrified of what might happen, fearful of the unexpected, the dangers that await you in the dark. The first time I ever felt genuine fear in this game was when I got to this lush green forest level, Dark Root Garden. This is one of my favorite forest levels of all time, because of just how perfectly unpredictable it is. First, as you enter the forest, you look up and see a giant butterfly far off in the distance. You know what that is? That's the first boss. Yeah, you can see the boss of this area the entire time as you climb up towards it, and there's literally no way of knowing it. I had no idea I'd be climbing up to that castle. I had no idea that beautiful butterfly would attack me when I got there. Not only that, but this level altogether is horrifying. There are these evil plant people lurking about that'll chew your head off. There are evil lizard monsters hiding in the trees. There are sleeping giants that wake up when you walk past them and try to smash you to bits. And, of course, there's the Moonlight Butterfly, waiting atop the high castle for you to arrive. Limbo is now what has grown into one of the biggest indie platformers on the market. It seems pretty much everyone's played this game, or talked about it in some way. It's a creepy game. Very stylized, very simple, and perfect in execution. The whole game itself takes place in a forest. Well, most of it anyway. I never really cared for the second half of the game. It seemed to be running out of ideas towards the end and sort of just stopped dead in its tracks. But as for the first half, pure genius. From the beginning on, you spend Limbo in a dark forest, presumably in Limbo. Or does it take place in hell? Either way, it's pretty scary. There are dozens of brutal ways to die in this game, and it seems just about everything is trying to kill you. It definitely feels like you're in hell. Oh, and what about this spider? What the hell is up with this spider? He just won't leave you alone. Why don't you get off my back and go chase around some other little helpless boy, you miserable beast? Oh, there he goes. I am Cocoon. Great. I've always liked this forest. It's quiet, it's eerie, it's dangerous. It's about as foreboding as a game can get, without being too blunt, without being obvious. I also love the children's book illustration qualities of it all. Like, look at this boat scene here. It looks so timeless. I honestly can't think of another word for it. Limbo is timeless. Hauntingly timeless. What is this place? What is it? Is it even a forest level? What the hell is this place supposed to be? Forest Navel. The Forest Navel. It makes sense, I guess. It's either supposed to be a dark cave, a shady undergrowth, or a deep depression in the bowels of the forest. Whatever it is, it's an awesome level. Honestly, I don't even really know what to say about it. It's just too weird for words. It's a level so dark, so hazy and obscured, it almost feels like you're at the bottom of the ocean or something. You have to explore this place to know what I'm talking about. There's all kinds of weird stuff here. Floating frogs, burrowing bugs, fire-breathing elephant things, and, yeah, I don't know what to say about this place. To put it bluntly, the Forest Navel was just strange, bizarre, and unique. You all knew I would talk about this. Why wouldn't I? For better or for worse, Kokiri Forest is probably one of the most important settings in all of gaming history. Why? Because Ocarina of Time is a big deal.
Hey guys, am I the only one who remembers this gem? Oh, no way, I remember that game! So much nostalgia!
As you all know, Ocarina of Time starts out here in the lush Kokiri Forest. Link wakes up and exits his little treehouse, says hello to his little Kokiri friends, and the forest is pretty much open to us right off the bat. I put this place on the list, not because it enchants me, but because it enchants everyone. For many of us, spending time in this forest was the beginning of a gaming experience like no other. The beginning of taking video games seriously, no less. Or so it seems for the people in my generation. I'm not gonna act like the Lost Woods was at all an unexplored concept, because it wasn't. But I have to admit, wandering the woods and finding that little skull kid, being told that little kids who get lost in the woods forever become skull kids, that was cool. Really cool. Who could forget this place? All the crawling through shady logs, running about twists and turns, speaking with all the young villagers. Such good times. And as for the Great Deku Tree, well, I don't think there's anything else I need to say. What an awesome vision. What an awesome experience. What an awesome game. And as for the Forest Temple, trust me, we'll talk about that another time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about as unique as it gets. Boggly Woods from Paper Mario 2. A black and white forest with a neon floor. A pale world overcast with a yellow gradient sky. This is a good example of a video game designer going completely nuts with imagination. Look at all these colors. Look at this background. This overall design. Black trees with white leaves. A flat ground with glowing Celtic vines. Pretty much everything here is black and white. From the bugs, to the plants, to the water, to the rocks, to the cloud things. Paper Mario games have always been imaginative. Mario RPGs in general. I think the cool thing about Mario RPGs is that they never take themselves seriously. I mean, look at the name. Boggly Woods. Some designer probably just said, to hell with this name, we can call it whatever we want. Boggly. Mario RPGs always seem to have a good time just messing around with themselves, making everything exaggerated to a ridiculous degree. And sometimes, just once in a while, it can be something really special. To be honest, guys, I was actually gonna put Vine Valley here from Donkey Kong Country. But, I've already talked about it. Everybody's talked about it. And I don't think anyone's ever talked about this. So forgive me. While this game may be silly and obnoxious, it's still one of my favorites. And for its absolute originality, Boggly Woods is by far my favorite forest level of all time. Oh wait, there's one more. Excuse me. This is my favorite forest level of all time. In Final Fantasy IX, one of my favorite games in the series, you start out as Zidane Tribal, a young thief riding an airship in the sky. After a cavalcade of cutscenes that I'm not gonna spoil here, the airship ends up crash landing into a dark, misty forest. This place is called Evil Forest, and while the name alone isn't very impressive, the setting is. This place is beautiful. It takes pretty much everything I love about art design and throws it all together into a perfect, dark, mystifying experience. I've always loved pre-rendered backgrounds. I know they're flat, I know they don't move, and they may be a bit blurry for today's standards, but they're just like that. Like staring into a painting. In this case, a surreal painting. I don't think I've ever been more enchanted by a video game. This level, it's not that long, it's not that important, it's not even a big part of the game. But the design, the music, the feeling, I cannot describe it. I love a game that can pull me so far from my reality that I start to lose my senses, that I begin to trance, to disconnect, to stare wide-eyed into space and consume the environment around me. You know, I think there are two types of people that play video games. Those who pay attention to the foreground, and those who pay attention to the background. I'm sure we're all a mix of both, but each and every one of us certainly leads toward one side. Some of us pay attention to mechanics, and some of us pay attention to art. And when all is said and done, it's completely indescribable how much level design means to me. I want to stay here. I want to stay here forever. And maybe I'm just nuts. Yeah, I'm nuts.
Honorable mentions go to that place from Jak 2, that place from Halo 3, I guess. Pretty much anything from Skyrim. But what are your favorite forest levels? Well, nobody cares. Except me.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my other two shows below, Underneath Hidden Games and Underneath Thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to see a lot more.